with Dave Brown, and I'm here with producer
Producer Rob, as they call me.
Robbie Bobby. Robbie, we have to go live stream today because our schedules conflicted because of just life. But yesterday we had a pretty big event. We did our weekday podcast, all centered around the big cinnamon roll off we've been putting on putting on for months and months and months. Kind of centered around Paige's mom Janie and me, and then you brought your Safeway cinnamon rolls. They finished a distant third. But what did you think about yesterday?
Well, first of all, it's great to meet Janie and Bob, Paige's parents. Did a great job raising Paige and to meet Paige's kids and stuff. It was in my kids. It was a bit of a madhouse, wasn't it? But it was a lot of fun. But the kids were excited, weren't they? The thing about the Safeway now, so each person brought a different kind of cinnamon roll. Dave brought his world famous cinnamon rolls, on point, really, really good. And Janie, who was traveling up from Nevada, brought her or made her own cinnamon rolls. They were spot on. Safeway, I've been bragging about the Safeway because they have a bunch of icing. And man, their kids' eyes lit up and they were like, boom, we all thought, but unfortunately, Safeway, it was on the 50% rack. They didn't have any fresh ones. They didn't have any fresh ones at all. So I had to take the 50% rack. And right there, I knew I was doomed.
Yeah, those sucked a big one. They weren't making it, but
But
yeah,
yeah, top two, you and Jeannie, or Janie, excuse me, were tooth and nail, man. It's pretty tough to decide.
different kind. Janie really threw me a curveball though, because the ones she made at Christmas time that they brought me over a couple and stuff were very plain and um, a little more thicker, And man, she rolls in yesterday with the free agent cinnamon rolls. We got the pecans and they were softer and she had a lot more sugar in them. And it's like, hello. So I was like, it's like when you go play a basketball game, the other team picks up a player off the injured reserve, and you're going, "Oh man, who's this guy?" And so, yeah, I like mine better. You liked hers a little better, though.
Yeah, I did. I mean, I hate to say that because but to me, she had like the crushed nuts, crushed walnuts with the caramel. It was a really nice little topping, but the cinnamon roll, it's almost, and I hate to say it, I don't want any disrespect. I mean, no disrespect here, but I almost wish you had her chopped nut caramel sauce on top of yours.
I might try the chopped walnuts or pecans on top next
Because
time.
she had them just the right size, not big, just the right
Yeah,
size.
really, yeah, tiny. I took a bunch of them to the golf course this morning where I work, and mine blasted hers out of the water. But I took
Really?
three of hers and cut them in half because they were
Yeah.
uh, pretty rich. And yeah, I was killing it at the golf course, and it's so fun when you got a couple people come in to play golf and they're kind of haven't really had a lot of breakfast. And they're going, "You got what? You got homemade cinnamon rolls?" And it was pretty
Yeah.
fun. And a couple of maintenance
Well,
guys, and a
one of
couple.
my favorite memories, and I'm not sure if it was Paige or her mom, it's like you were cutting them all up and getting ready to hand them out and all this stuff, or everybody had them. And we were just taking our first bites, and someone said, I thought it was Paige or her mom. So let me try the Safeway one. And they tried this and they go, oh,
Yeah,
and
just
just moved on. I
well,
was
we
like,
talked
oh,
about food in
yeah.
general for about 20 minutes after that when Paige and I we had her mom on as a guest and we talked about food in general, just how food is so unique. Like, you and I do our flapjacks, bacon, flapjack sausage and orange juice on Saturday mornings normally. And I love that breakfast. It's so good. I don't do eggs per se. I'm weird, but I mean, I love that breakfast. I'd pick a pancake over. I like a good piece of French toast, but a good, over a waffle, but a good pancake is hard to beat.
Well, you'll be happy to know that this morning for my boys, I got up and I made some pancakes.
Good for
But,
you.
but Dave, I got to tell you, yours were way better because I had mine were too thick. They're too dense. I needed to thin them out a little bit, but I was afraid I didn't want to thin them out too much to make it. So they were just a little too doughy, and I don't know. Also I wasn't using them on like a griddle like you used. I was using them on a, with a not the hot plates, but the the flat top griddles that people cook things on.
I
And
don't like them. I just like I prefer old fashioned skillets. Very.
yeah, the skillet, I should have stuck with the skillet. That would have browned them up a lot more. They were
Oh,
they were like caramel colored, beige color, but they weren't the dark that I like. That dark.
well, next time maybe come a little bit early and I'll learn you up.
Yeah, next time I'll bring all the boy. I'll wake the boys. I'll pull them up out of bed and bring them along and make them taste your flapjacks.
Yeah, and flapjacks is a better term than pancake, by the way. I just wanted to, you get all the credit for that because flapjacks just sounds kind of cool. Pancake is, okay, grandma makes pancakes. Flapjacks, though, it's kind of got a little rock and roll
Mm.
to it.
Well, Dave, I know we're going to go down the list of our favorite subjects, and a subject that I'm not even sure you even heard this news. That just I heard today was the great outfielder for the Pittsburgh Pirates and the Cincinnati Reds. I'm talking about Dave Parker has passed on. I'm not sure if you heard that news.
I barely heard it today, and I saw Dave Parker live in the '70s. The Pittsburgh Pirates came to Portland to play their AAA team at the time for a long time, the Portland Beavers,
Okay,
and I saw him two or three times. Willie Stargell, Manny Sanguillen, Dave Parker, obviously out there, Bill, um,
Bill Madlock,
Bill Matlock at third. I'm
Rennie
going down the
Stennett,
list.
Rennie Stennett at second base.
Gosh, yeah, they had. So Willie Stargell, true story. When you play at the old Civic Stadium where the Portland Timbers play now, it right field faces up against the Multnomah Athletic Club, which is
Yeah,
a really high end athletic club. Been there for long decades and decades and decades and decades, probably 75 years. And they have balconies out there. It's probably 425 feet, and so they're doing a home run contest. So they're getting gravy pitches. Well, it comes down to Dave Parker and Willie Stargell, and they're about neck and neck, and so Parker, hits a couple more homers, and then Willie Stargell comes up. He's like 35 at the time. He parks three into the deck at about 440 feet. Now, I watched it happen. This really happened, and you're just going, "What just happened?" I mean, Willie Stargell was a man's man, but Dave Parker was bigger, younger by far. Great, great baseball player. I would think in Pittsburgh Pirates lore, he's got to go down in their top nine of all time.
yeah. Well, anyway, he had passed on today. I just wanted to I know we'd like to talk about sports and definitely something that that I want to recognize because he kind of was in our both of our eras. I put a post out on social media that, and by the way, Dave, you got to follow me on social media. I put out some great stuff, great videos and stuff, just things I find on the internet. You would love it. You would love it.
I will share that out right now. I mean, I'll share yours out, and then go ahead and we'll do a commercial break
Yeah,
right now. Share our
yeah.
stuff out.
Rob's at Rob Stagenborg or just look me up Rob Stagenborg on Facebook. It's I put out a lot of good stuff about sports, entertainment, rock and roll, a lot of great backstories about different songs and a lot of things I stumble across. So I kind of stay out of the politics quite a bit, but I do put a lot of effort into my social media every day. So yeah, if you're interested, hook up, send me a message, and yeah, I'll put in requests and I'll like the request. And Dave, you're on Instagram, which we're broadcasting live right now on Instagram, YouTube live, and then talk about the reels. You do the reels as well.
Yeah, Instagram, TikTok. We go to X. I like the reels. They're totally different. The podcast is like this. It's more, we can get real loose with it and just have a lot of fun, or you can get more political, or into more heavy topic type stuff. Reels are more generally going to be, if it's heavy, it's going to be quick. If it's going to be fun, it's going to be quick. Reels are something you can just blitz through 5 reels in a couple of minutes if you're waiting at the line, in the grocery store. If you're at the DMV for 2.5 hours, like I was the other day, you can look at about 200 reels, which I did. So anyway, so we got education, politics, Jesus, sports, and people. And the reason we picked those 5 categories, everybody, was we felt like, it started off with education, and then politics was kind of a natural fit. We live in Oregon. It's crazy. And then we threw in people. That was kind of the next category that was added to our list by those that help us do this. And then I said, well, if we're going to do people, then I want to do Jesus, because I really do want to reach out in that realm too. You know, not everybody's Bible-y like we are, but you go to the Catholic Church, we go to Eighth Creek. Paige goes to her church, and then we have sports. And you and I, that's our. We can just go sports all day long, and so we picked those 5 categories because sports does get a lot of action out there with a lot of different podcasts and shows on ESPN. But that's our categories. So today, out of those 5 categories, Rob's going to kind of go rapid fire at me, and we're not going to take too long on any subject, but we like doing this
Well,
because it's off the cuff.
I got the very first one, and this is right in your wheelhouse. I saw an interview with Linda McMahon, Secretary of Education, and they're investigating the state of California on Title IX because of the issue with the transgender athletes, and that's certainly something that I know you and Judy have been very vocal about and have made national connections. So let's talk about what do you expect to happen now that the U.S. government's involved? Again, billions of dollars of federal money is at stake, but yet Gavin Newsom tends to be kind of stuck in his liberal sort of ways. How do you see this playing out, and were you surprised that the government took that approach to bring up investigation under Title IX, which again you've been saying for about a year and a half, this is all a violation of Title IX.
Yeah, it is totally. And I think where we're at in our society right now is a lot of people feel like they can just be above the law. They can break windows and loot, and they don't get in trouble. Governors can defy the federal part of the government, and everybody wants to tell everybody to go chase themselves, and flips them off and just runs off. And says we don't have to listen to you. Well, yeah, you kind of do. Uh, we have different branches of our government for a reason. We have states for a reason, and that's what makes us very unique from Russia and China and stuff. So I would say that I'm one big reason I think could happen here. Also today, Kamala Harris is making big overtures about running for governor because Newsom's going to run for president. We know that. So I'm just really hoping that people in California will finally sit back and say, you know what? I may be a Democrat. I may even be a little bit of a liberal Democrat, and our state leans that way, but no longer. It's time to vote in better people to run our state better, lower our taxes a ton. We're following in the same suit in Oregon, but I'm really hoping the people of California will just, finally get behind the truth and what's right and wrong for their state, because their state will be a lot better off without people like Gavin Newsom and Mayor Bass in LA. I mean, these people are showing they can't do the job. It's just bottom line. They can't do the job. And they make very selfish political agenda based stuff. What they need is not Republican agenda based or Democratic agenda based. They need just good, solid decisions. And Kamala Harris would be as bad or worse than Gavin Newsom, I believe.
Well, again, we saw New York City the race for mayor in New York City. Some very difficult discussions related to anti-Semitism and some pretty wild socialism ideas. Again, what do you think about And this was that Andrew Cuomo had lost the primary or the election, and the young man, I can't think of his name right now, but big
Yeah.
changes coming to New York City, and that's going to be crazy.
His stuff is just so undoable. It's just,
You talk about government grocery stores where
oh, I
people
mean,
can just go in. Yeah, like what's that?
he's a people have to really look at the sincerity of like who's running. For an example, and let's go back to Joe Biden and running the country. At one time, Joe Biden was a very articulate speaker, could talk and everything like that. He'd lost his health. He'd lost a lot of his faculties, and yet they still threw him in there because they had people running the show. And Joe Biden wasn't up for that job. And we just have to acknowledge the fact that sometimes people get old. That's why, I've told you this many times, Rob, I believe in term limits. I don't want to see people in politics, both sides. I don't want to see them in there for longer than 8 years. I really don't.
Remember they had the old Strom Thurmond who was in there at 96, making laws.
Just get rid of the guy.
Yeah.
And again, that's not a Republican thing or a Democrat thing. It's like you serve your 8 years, go back to your state, go back to your real life and do a job. I think after 8 years, if you're still back there, you get into the reality of politics or the unreality of it. Whereas if you're, you know, you're in there for 8 years, you got kind of a timeline, 4 years elected if you get reelected, and then go home, you go back to Missouri and be a farmer or be a lawyer or be a business owner. But I don't want you in there for, you know, 20 years. No.
Well, Dave, I want to move on to our next subject, kind of talking about Jesus and about religion. And one thing I've noticed, just people seem to be dropping the F bomb just freely, like it's a part of our language. And I know you and I growing up, it was like, whoa, people just didn't do that. And over society, that's just become a part of the language. Again, I don't want to be an old fuddy duddy, but it's kind of in poor taste. And I think really devalues the conversations and devalues what the person's saying. And again, I know sometimes people say that for effect, but I mean, I just kind of feel like people need Jesus in their life to kind of, clean up their language a little bit because it's not really necessary a lot. And I just noticed even in social media, I see, videos of little young children, like toddlers, using F words and stuff. And I just think it's just ridiculous that people aren't more outraged about it. Again, don't want to be an old fogey, but I know you're a coach. You've heard a lot about it. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, we put in no cussing rules just because everybody is going to cuss. We all make that error. I've had several people through the past, through my years, have said, it just shows a lack of intelligence that you can't come up with a better word. Analogy I have, Rob, you go back and watch movies in the 40s and 50s and even a little bit into the 60s, and you didn't have to drop the F word to be tough. you know. And I think, somewhere along in there, people thought, well, if I use the F word, it makes me sound tougher. I don't think so at all. Act it out. Be that way. I think when it comes to in today's language, people think that makes them look tough, and it makes them look unintelligent. Use real words. And because the thing about swearing, doesn't matter where you go, you're going to be okay with some people, but you're going to offend others. Why would you purposely try to offend or make other people feel uncomfortable on purpose? I mean, what's your point? That's not how we should be respectful to our fellow citizens around us. And I would tell everybody out there, because there's no age gap on this or age limit. People at all ages, and I agree. It shows a lack of being able to articulate or sound tough with the right words.
And then again, the kids model the behavior of the adults, and it just is a what they call that vicious cycle. Just keeps going on, and it'll never end. But again, it just seems to be very graphic in the way people are describing relationships and the types of sex they're having and stuff like that. It's just again, maybe maybe I'm the one that I'm out of touch, but it just seems to be a little bit too graphic. So,
I
uh,
I still have the coaching in me when I'm at the gym and I'm at the local pool, which is owned by the Park and Rec. I'll hear some young people, not very often, but you get some high school kids, and I get it. I mean, we all did it when we were, there, but they'll say it just, bam, bam, and it's heard by many people. And there's a lot of older people, a lot of women that work out, and I've many times walked over and I go, "That's the best you got. That's the best word you got," and I'll just keep on walking. And I've noticed that they'll I think you just need to be called out sometimes. We all do. We all
sure.
mess up a little bit. We get a little loose with stuff. Language has definitely gotten way too loose, and everybody needs to tighten it up and be more respectful for sure. Great question.
Well, moving back over to politics, I know we focus a lot on politics. A lot of discussion about the Iran airstrikes and now how effective they were, and certainly the DoD, lauding the pilots as heroes, but the media being the way they're kind of spinning this thing. To me, it's kind of disgusting. When these people take off and they hit these targets, precision targets. We're talking like within a meter of where they were aiming. Beautifully executed. But for people to question and to take low level reports, I don't know. It just seems like they're really like Donald Trump himself said they're going after Donald Trump, so they're in their way. They don't care who they're hurting in the way, and it's these
Yeah.
pilots and their families. And so, talk about that. What do you think about that? That's the big story of the week.
Well, Obama and those folks, they fired hundreds of ballistic, medium range missiles into Iran during their tenure. And, so this is nothing more than just another shot at Trump. They're going to take anything that Trump does and they're going to go to their Trump derangement syndrome mode and they're going to spin it the other way. And he could cure cancer and they would come up with a reason why it's not a good idea. So it's unfortunate because I really think the Democrats are hurting themselves in the long run. I think they're turning people off. And I think a lot of people are waking up, in fact, and saying, you guys are, all you do is just, go after people. And I think more and more people are starting to realize that the truth is not being told to them. And again, if you don't like Trump in 28, he won't be able to run, but you go to the polls and vote. And right now, I think if it was J.D. Vance and Gavin Newsom, I think J.D. Vance wins the election 2028 because I think a lot of people are looking at the Democrats and saying, why can't you get behind like our pilots and stuff like that in the military, whether you like Trump or not. But anything Trump touches, they're going to go the opposite viewpoint. That's sad.
Yeah, and it just the way and fortunately or unfortunately, both the Secretary of Defense and President Trump had smacked back at the reporters, and even at the NATO conference, the there was a little bit of a verbal exchange. I mean, I think there's a segment of the America that likes to see that, and some people that kind of cringe when they see that. I tend to cringe a little bit when he does that. But what do you think, Dave?
For Trump to go back at him,
Well, call out the media's in public sort of settings and things like that.
yeah, I think that is something I think I wouldn't recommend. I wouldn't, if I was an advisor, I'd say don't do that for sure. I think it's got to be awfully frustrating. I know just from my perspective how I was treated by the media here in Oregon. Holy tamales! I mean, that's just Dave Brown, board chair of the school board, and I mean, I would say the sky's blue on a sunny blue day, and they would say Dave Brown said we have nuclear fallout, and that's why the sky is gray. I mean, they would totally just change the words, or they would take 5 seconds of a snippet out of a half-hour interview, and it's not what I said at all. And so, do I trust the media? Not a bit, especially our local media. Terrible, absolutely terrible. Newberg Graphic. Willamette Weekly, the Oregonian, used to be a great newspaper. I grew up with it my whole life until 10 years ago. My wife and I just stopped getting it because, it's just a agenda based, platform for people that want to print that stuff, and most of it's not true.
Well, my last segment for you is the people segment again, and we kind of talk about Dave Parker. I wouldn't count him as sports, and this is my one for the people. So, are you ready to feel some love in your heart? Because I know you're a big Blazers fan, right?
Go.
The Blazers signed on a two-way contract a young man named Caleb Love, guy from North Carolina, or played for North Carolina and Arizona. He actually is from my hometown, went to my high school,
Oh,
and
really?
I actually worked there just as he was coming in, and I was moving out. But he went on to have a great career in Missouri and great career at North Carolina and actually Arizona. Kind of played during that COVID era, so some of his stats kind of got a little bit forgotten. But he signed a two-way contract with the Blazers, and he's going to be, obviously working with the G League team as well as the big league team. I looked it up; he could play up to 50 games with the Blazers. So rooting for him again. Caleb Love, he's from Missouri. Uh, played played at my high school, Christian Brothers, and is a brother for life, as we call him. So, Dave,
How,
what do you think about the Blazers, or even just their draft in general? They drafted the 7 foot kid from China as well.
how old's a kid? Love kid.
What's that? Well,
How old's
Caleb
Love?
Love. Caleb Love is he's not. Caleb Love's a shooting guard or forward, I think.
But
But
no, how old is?
he might be 22,
Okay.
23, maybe. Yeah, he's young, right out of college. He didn't
You
get
know,
drafted. He didn't get drafted, but they signed him as an undrafted free agent.
well, if he's a brother of another mother with you in your school back there, I mean, got to root for that guy. I,
Yeah.
I think the Blazers, definitely, they're going to have a new ownership at some point. It's a storied franchise in the NBA. It's small market like Sacramento and Oklahoma City, and so I think there's a big place for that in the NBA. It was cool this year to see, um, Oklahoma City win it all. I gotta, they're looking at Indianapolis, and saying small market. No, not really. That's a huge area,
Mm.
but it was fun to see two teams outside of the Western Eastern Seaboards, get in there. And congratulations, Oklahoma City Thunder. The Blazers, I think, I like the 7-footer. They need to get bigger. I tell you what, though, I mean, if I was going to buy the Blazers and I had the money, I'd want to put together a different kind of franchise. I don't like the current NBA way the game is played. Everybody's playing it the same way. I believe in the 3-point shot, but it's helped and ruined the game at the same time. I'd like to see a lot faster paced basketball. Oklahoma City does a little bit of that. Get up and down the court. Learn how to. I'd like to see a lot more passing and a lot less dribbling. I like to see more ball movement. When you get stuck in the half court and you can't run, I think more ball movement would create wide open threes as much as they, like to spread the floor and get people in the corners. I would say, getting off subject here a little bit, I would push the 3-point line out of the corners because what it's done is everybody's just taking the percentage of 3 versus 2, and we're just going to shoot a lot of threes. I get it. That's the rules, so play by the rules. But I miss the old days where somebody would actually cut back door and get an easy layup or a dunk. If you want to get more exciting basketball, get more good off the ball movement, run, get the fast breaks really going with passing, more passing, more passing, more passing.
Okay, well, that's all I got. What do you got? Anything for me? That's all I got for you, Dave. We covered all of our subjects.
Yeah, no, I really wanted to hit on, we'll reverse back and we'll do the sports thing. I was talking to everybody. We got a chance to finally play golf together. Working at the golf course now for going my 3rd month. It is the craziest game. So what's your take right now on, like, why are people just really digging golf at this point? Not everybody does. A lot of people think it's a goofy sport, but what do you think? Why is golf so popular right now?
Well, because I mean, like I may even told you, it's my theory that the previous time that people golfed, they hit one shot that made them think, I can do this.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
no,
that's the only reason I can see why, because it is a crazy game.
the thing about today, I worked from 6 o'clock this morning until 2:15 this afternoon, nonstop, no breaks, just go, 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 go. And I will say, you meet a big variety of people out there. I mean, you got my dentist was out there. There's doctors, there's lawyers, there's business owners. And then the other day it was awesome. The city of Newburgh, I think his name was Spencer. He runs a city works department in Newburgh, and he brought his entire crew out. These are not golfers. A lot of them are wearing their green vests and stuff like that. And they had like 24 guys, and they had their own golf time. And my buddy Eric Stevenson works for the city. It was team building. That's what the guy said they were doing. So they played 18 holes. I took them out, pop chips and candy bars and more drinks, and they just had a great time. And they're the opposite of your full-time golf kind of guy. They're not wearing polos, dude, man. They're wearing the green, shirts. I don't remember.
Any of them make good shots or whatever, or were they all over?
A couple could play, but they're just having fun. It's like, I loved it. I thought it was killer. It was super cool. So yeah, you meet
nice to see the city do that for their employees. Cause,
I loved it. I'm going to write a letter. Actually, I'm going to go to the city council meeting, and I'm going to do a shout out for that guy because I'm a big into team building. All my team, big into team building. And more businesses and companies need to do that.
Yeah, exactly. It's right here in the community. I'm sure the golf course will be able to give them a good deal, give them a good time or whatever. So.
Oh yeah, and they were going to have a barbecue after they got done. So super cool, super cool. Couldn't. It's just something every business owner. I talked to another business owner in Newburgh yesterday and told him about it, and he's like, I said, dude, you need to take care of your staff, not just with a paycheck. It's all the little things that add up, and he does. He does a great job, but a lot of businesses kind of take their employees a little bit for granted, and you can take them for granted for a little while, but there's always that time where everybody needs a pat on the back or an attaboy at some point,
Yeah.
Not money. Money helps, but that little gift certificate or just a little team building thing, I'm buying dinner. Bring your family. Let's all go bowling up at, we have Bullwinkles in Sherwood. Let's all, no, Sherwood's.
No, that's Langer's.
Yeah, Langer's.
Langer's half price bowling in the summer.
Yeah, spend $1,000 on 25 employees and let them have pizza and just be stupid for a couple
Mm.
hours. People appreciate that stuff.
Yeah, at Fox, at George Fox, they've done that where they've taken the employees and we've had a bowling day, and things like that. So it's just, like I said, it gives you stuff to talk about. Like guys from the plant services when they come by the office, they'll, remember how terrible the girls in our office were at bowling, because they got teamed up with them and stuff. It was a really good, it was a good team
Oh,
building thing.
it's awesome stuff. Anybody that does that, smart manager.
Yeah.
So I got there. I'd say my next question coming at you from a political standpoint, it's really, really, really frustrating when Governor Tina Kotek takes our $2,400 kickback checks for me and Judy, for you and Amanda, and take it to go spend it on whatever they want to go spend it on, which is probably going to go towards teachers and education. When we're ranked 46th in the country, our
Mhm.
education system is super low, and we're gonna use all that money. They're gonna take my money. They're gonna take my $2,400 and Judy's $2,400 and yours and everybody else's, and they're gonna spend it on what they want to spend it on. I just think that's wrong. What do you think?
Well, for a person who really watches every penny, just the way I was raised, the way I am. I mean, I can't. I started thinking about giving up $2,400. It's like I can't do that. Conceivably, I got a family to take care of. That's monthly income I don't necessarily have. So, you know, again, I've never been a big fan of Tina Kotek. I don't really see why people would ever even vote for her. And now, she's running this whole program into the ground. Again, another DEI kind of woke governor who, is a little. I think I'm sure right now is feeling the heat from the federal government because she decided she wanted to stand up and not play along or not, do what was in the interest of what the people wanted, and now she's going to pay the price for it. So yeah, so the fact that she's taking this kicker money again, this is money that anyone could use. We could use it for groceries. We could use it for, my car payment. The electric bill. It'll cover electric bills for a year.
Yeah,
So again, that's real money that's taken away from real people who could use it. Or
totally
depend.
agree. Moving on, next question. Getting education. What's your take on, like right now, if you could sit back and let's just say you were at Research Stadium at OSU, you're at Autzen Stadium at University of Oregon, big stadium, 45, 47,000 seats in there. Um, and you had all the teachers in the state of Oregon there, and all the principals and the vice principals and the counselors. Now, Judy just retired after 34 years in education. I spent 20 years in it, and then another 4 years on a school board. So we feel like we've been around education besides being coaches forever. So we've been to a lot of, different kinds of meetings. What would you say if they were all there, every single one? Nobody's missing this event. It's there. What would you say to them?
Teach what you know. Stay away from everything else. Just teach what you know. If you're a math teacher, teach math. Don't care about everything else. Just teach math. Excuse me.
Oh, bless you.
Pardon me.
Rob and I were talking about the whole thing with
Yeah.
the allergies. I woke up at 3 in the morning last night and I was just running nose, and I was like, "What the heck? This never happens to me. I haven't had allergies since I was like 15."
Mm.
And so I don't know if it's allergies today. I'm working out there. I'm around grass, picking up golf balls out there, and stuff. But um, I don't know if it's like a little tiny cold or something. But I've been popping the Sudafed or whatever, like sugar babies
Yeah.
today. Like,
Vertex. Yeah. Yeah. No, I would just tell them, stick to what you know. Stay in your lane. That's where we need them. We need them to be great math teachers, not mediocre math teachers who are involved in social justice issues. We don't need that. Certainly kids need an adult that they can talk to. I'm not ever advocating for, turning a blind ear to any of that sort of thing. But just remember, you have to be the adult in the situation, and pushing gender ideology and pushing all kinds of social justice sort of reforms. I mean, it's just we're not hiring you for that. We're hiring you to teach English class, teach
yeah.
social, teach math, teach physical education. Stick to that. Stay in your lane.
All right. Kind of our Jesus, we call it going biblically. I'm going to ask you a question there. Rob, you're Catholic. You go to tell them the church you go to.
St. Peter's right there, right around the corner from you, Dave.
2 blocks away. Build a beautiful. Can't wait to see it. New
Mm.
sanctuary. But that's where Lucy has grown up. Chasing tennis balls up there. But Rob, we've news comes and goes super fast, and that's the way of the world. It's never changed. But we have a new pope. A couple months in. How do you think he's doing? How do you think he's fitting in to be the new pope?
Well, I kind of have a thing against idolizing the Pope. Like it just, I mean, he's not Jesus, he's not God. I mean, he might be one step up, close. He's about 17,000 steps closer to God than I'll ever be because he's lived, and I don't question any of his his intentions, but again, he's not the Lord himself. So I have a hard time just where people who have this adulation, because again, in the history of the papacy, they've had corruption, greed, grift, had all kinds of issues. So it's been maybe a pretty kind of nefarious role through the history of time. Not saying today that that's the way it is. I think that the church has been very much involved in a lot of social issues, some good, some bad. I think that becomes divisive for people. Again, if you don't believe in a certain approach to life or a certain decision someone would make, and you just can't, it's a part of your fundamental part of your fabric and you'll never change your mind. It's difficult to have someone up top saying, oh yeah, you need to change your mind or
Yeah.
you're. So I think even that goes into, like, again, I know a lot of people love Franklin Graham and all those sort of people, Billy Graham, but I was never, it always, I always listened to what those guys said, but I wasn't really like just falling at the knee on just the fact that they're speaking, if that makes sense.
No, that's a really great answer. I appreciate you being so honest about that because I feel exactly the same way. And you're right.
But that said, we do need leadership. The Catholic Church needs
Sure,
leadership,
sure.
needs, someone to be kind of the administrative leader. So I get that part, but yeah.
Last year we were at the Billy Graham, museum down in North Carolina and South Carolina,
Mm.
South Carolina, North Carolina. I don't know, North Carolina. And I would say from everything I read that day about Billy Graham, what I've learned is he would have been the last person to ever say, yeah, I'm just not special at all. I'm just a messenger from God, and I am here to, spread the message. But he did do that to, hundreds of millions of people all around the world for decades, and so people did come to see him as special. I don't think he would have ever wanted anything more than just said, "Hey, I'm just doing the Lord's work." But so my last one with you. This is going to be rapid fire. I'm going to put you really on the Mountain Dew hot seat. Some people call it the Budweiser hot seat. But I'm going to go
Yeah,
through some.
hey, it's for me. It's the Arnold Palmer hot seat
Hey,
because I'm still on those, man.
here you go,
Yeah,
baby. So we drink Arnold Palmer. I drink Arnold Palmer Light. What do you do?
I did Arnold Palmer diet because there's only 2 carbs in there.
This has been the best thing. I got to brag a little bit because tomorrow's my birthday. So I in the last 3 months have gone from 238.8 to 223.6, and I just don't put sugar in my coffee.
Mm-hmm.
I put a little bit of half and half, a tiny bit of honey. I'm trying to eat less. I just try to from about 9 o'clock at night till about 9 o'clock the next morning, roughly 12 hours. Not really eating anything. It's not hard. I thought it'd be hard at first. If I have a piece of toast at 7, fine. I'm not have like hard and fast rule. Less sugar, no soda pop. The only thing I have besides water and a little bit of coffee in the morning is I'll have the Arnold Palmer Light, and it
Yep.
it feels good, man, to lose 15 pounds. I'm telling you, that's like a bowling ball and a half here.
There you
So
go, man. There you go. Well, you're looking good. And happy birthday to you, man. Proud of you. You made it all
hey,
this way.
it's so mental. It's just crazy. It's bag of Cheetos or just cut up an apple. It's so dumb. I like the apple. I like Cheetos, but at some point you have to step back. Especially at my age, and start making a little bit better choices because you spend a whole life being a sugarholic. You got to reel it in at some point. So my question, I'm going to fire off a sports figure or TV show, person, a band, music. I know you love music as much as I do. We're going to spend more time in the music
Yeah.
genre here. So I'm gonna fire away. Then I'll let you ask the same questions kind of back at me, and we'll wrap this up.
All
Ready?
right, let's see what we can do. Okay.
You don't get two answers, man. You get one, and you don't have all
Okay.
day to explain it. So, Mountain Dew hot seat. We're no diddling around here. Best male movie star.
Best male movie star? Oh, I mean, I guess you have to look at someone like, uh, well, you have to go with kind of who's hot today. I don't know. I never been a huge fan of the movie stars, so let's say Jeremy Renner.
Whoa,
Yeah,
that's
I love that
actually a
guy.
pretty
He's
decent
hardcore.
pick. Okay, best baseball player of all time.
Best baseball player?
Not your favorite. I don't care about your favorite. Who's your best baseball player of all time?
Oh, probably Mickey Mantle.
Okay, who's the best football player?
Best football player of all time. I gotta go Tony Dorsett. I used to just that guy was electric, man.
Okay, best basketball player.
Best basketball player, Dr. J for me.
Best college basketball player.
Me, see, I have a personal because the one time I won the NCAA pool was when Mario Chalmers played for Kansas, ends up beating Memphis, and I ended up winning about $600 that year for the one of the bigger pools.
Now,
So
Rob, you know the question was the best basketball player all time in college. I mean, not your good luck
well,
charm. Best basketball player.
okay, all right, Lou Elcinder, I'll give you that.
All right.
Kareem,
Best Olympian ever.
best Olympian. Probably have to say Bruce Jenner before he became Caitlyn Jenner.
Okay. Um, best female movie star.
I'm a big one for again. There's a lot of really good ones out there, but lately, who's the girl? Um, oh, I can't think of her name now. Margot Robbie,
Okay.
Barbie.
Yeah. No, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
All right. Best singer, individual male singer of all time.
Ooh. Oh man, let's see. That's a really difficult question to answer because there's so many good ones. But I guess I'd have to say maybe somebody like oh man, I can't. The best. But that's a really difficult one. I
Pick
can't.
one. Come on.
I'm trying to. I'm trying to.
Pick one.
Let's say the guy from Kansas, Steve Walsh.
Okay. Best band ever.
Best band ever. I would probably go ahead and say I'm going to say ACDC.
Best TV show ever.
I used to really like that show Wings. Remember the show Wings?
Yep.
I used to watch that one. So all right, you ready for me?
Yep. Fire away.
Okay. So for you, best male movie star.
John Wayne.
I'll just follow with best female movie star.
Say what?
Best female movie star then.
Um, yeah, I'm gonna go with I'm trying to think of her name. It was just tip of my tongue. Uh, oh, I just had it. Oh my goodness. Come back to that one. I'll get the name down because I have one. I want to pick. It just blanked in my head. Fire away.
Top football or top baseball player of all time.
I think the best baseball player ever, pound for pound, regardless of all other stuff. I got to go with Mickey Mantle.
Mickey Mantle. Okay, best basketball player of all time.
Larry Bird.
Okay, I could see that coming from you. Now, if we were with Buddy Steve, he would say Michael Jordan all the way, but he loves the GOAT. Me, okay, moving on, moving on. Best football player of all time.
Walter Payton.
Ooh, yeah, that was good. Best college basketball player of all time.
Bill Walton.
Oh, really, with John
Yeah.
Wooden? That's right. That's right. Okay,
Very
let's.
close to it would be Alcindor. But it's hard to argue against Pete Maravich in college.
Yeah, well, best TV show.
Oh man, all time. I'm gonna go with Jack Bauer in 24.
Ooh, yeah, that was a good show. I didn't watch it live, but that was actually a pretty good show.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Let me see. Am I missing any questions? What questions I think that I? Oh,
Olympian.
the best Olympian. Yeah.
I think the best Olympian ever has got to be. Yours is a good pick. Um, all the sports are so different and everything, but Michael Phelps,
I was gonna say you have to go Michael Phelps. After I said Bruce
dude.
Jenner, I thought
Swimming's
Phelps.
an impressive sport. I never got to do it. Um, you know, uh, but my buddy that passed away a few years ago, George Sampson, was coach of the year at 6A at Newburgh, and George was a swim coach, and I watched his practices and stuff. He coached some tennis with me, and I tell you, swimming's an impressive sport.
Mm, yeah. Okay. Best male singer.
Elvis Presley,
Okay. Best female singer.
Aretha Franklin,
Okay. Okay. Best band.
Beatles.
Ooh, okay. And let's see, the one I was gonna come back to was what was it the best movie?
Best movie of all time. I would have to go. This is really a tough one, but there's so many great picks in there. Yeah. I'm gonna have to go with honestly The Great Escape with Steve McQueen.
Oh, nice. That's a good movie. That's a good
I mean,
movie.
there's so many you could throw in there for different
Oh,
reasons.
sure.
That's the
Well,
story. The acting was good.
I will tell you that, in my adult life, I've run into more people, like in the offices and people I work with, that are like really obsessed with Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter. These are getting adults. These are adults, who are
Yeah,
getting obsessed with these things. And I couldn't, I've never been able to get it. I mean, Star Wars, yeah, but I don't know them to the level that some of these people know, Dave. I feel like
no, I
I've
mean,
been left out.
the whole. I know people really get into Lord of the Rings and Harry Potter. So I never did. Just didn't interest me much at all. But it's cool that people find their genre that they dig. Right now, we went and saw the last Mission Impossible movie the other night. The action, the stunts were incredible by Tom Cruise. By the way, shout out to Tom Cruise. A lot of people, he's kind of a crazy dude. He did all his own stunts, and I will say, at 60 years old, when you go back and look at his resume of the movies, um, you know, um, he is, boy, he's made a lot of great movies. I mean,
Well,
Tom Cruise, Harrison Ford, you skip their politics, that kind of throws you off. But Tom Cruise has made a lot of great movies.
mm, wow.
So, yeah, it's fun. These questions are fun. I think a lot of people have a lot of fun with, what they like and everything. But, let me just rattle off some movies for you real quick. You ready? See
Yeah,
if you.
yeah.
The Shawshank Redemption.
Love it, love it, love it. One of my favorite.
Where Eagles Dare, Clint Eastwood and Richard Burton, 1968.
Haven't seen it.
North
I
by
need to.
Northwest with Cary Grant,
That's actually good. That's a good one.
1957 or something like that.
Yeah,
Great movie. Um, you want to look at another great movie? Look at Dances with Wolves with Kevin Costner.
yeah. It's lengthy. That's a big time investment for
Yeah,
me.
big.
If the movie goes over 2 hours, David, I struggle.
Oh no, totally. What's the one with Kevin Costner in the baseball one? That's called
Oh, Field of Dreams. Yeah,
Field of Dreams. Is a great movie. I'm getting a call in
he,
here
he was actually good in the Untouchables too. Remember the Untouchables?
on podcast. I'm answering the phone call here. Hold on.
Well, that'll give me a chance to let people know that they want to.
Yeah, this is live. You're on live stream with Rob and Dave. We're doing a live podcast right now.
Hey, how are you?
Say,
Judy, hey Judy.
so we're talking about Judy. What's your favorite um, movie of all time?
Favorite movie of all time?
Yeah, we're answering
Well,
this one out here.
There's lots and lots of movies that I love watching. I can probably say I like Jack Ryan,
There you go.
but that's more of a series. But I like Jack Ryan.
And then would you
What
say
the-
Reacher, the last Reacher TV show, would probably be your favorite TV show, wouldn't it?
I kind of like that show a lot. Yep.
My wife
a
likes
good
watching
show.
people get killed. And then we obviously loved Yellowstone, right? We loved Yellowstone.
Yes.
We watched a show the other night called Sirens on Netflix. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Kevin Bacon.
I could
Called-
watch that.
called
Bacon's a
Sirens.
really good actor.
Hey,
Yeah.
Brown, I got to say goodbye. We're going to wrap this thing up here. Are you almost home?
Yep. Just left 5 minutes ago, so I just wanted to call and tell you.
Okay, so you'll be here about 5:45.
Correct.
Okay, we'll just blitz and go.
Okay.
Love you.
Sounds great.
Bye.
Bye, Rob.
Bye-bye. That's live, a live
That's
phone
live,
call from the
everybody.
boss.
Hey, you know what? That's kind of good that Judy called like now because I want everybody to know. Rob knows this, Paige knows this, but it's like yesterday. We do the podcast in the kitchen with a bunch of kids around. Paige's mom and dad up from Dayton, Nevada, I think it was. Our friend Brent Smith, you with your boys. We got pretzels getting tipped over in the kitchen. Everybody's eating all the cinnamon rolls. It's chaotic as heck. I was 12 minutes late getting here on time because I was getting a back massage. We just live life and go for it. Judy and I, we're not really much in all the norms. We try to be respectful, but Rob and Paige are awesome. Judy's awesome about just shooting from the hip on a lot of stuff, and we don't take life all that seriously unless you're hurting people, and then we're going to say how we feel. But that's what I love about Rob. Rob, you're awesome about Paige and I call it taking a left. I think Rob and I just take whatever's coming our way.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's easy and sometimes it's not. But Judy called because we're going out to dinner for my birthday with our best friends tonight, Rob.
Where you heading? Where you going to?
We're going to the Grange in McMinnville, Oregon, and we're going to get fish and chips, baby.
Oh, look at you. Look at you. Well, no. The best place for fish and chips is our good friend, Tom down at Gem 100.
We got to go do that again.
They got
If you're ever in
great.
Newburgh, Oregon, go to Gym 100, get a root beer freeze with vanilla ice cream, and get their fish and chips.
Yeah.
Probably costs you $15, and you can split that easily if you're a big, huge eater. And it's just a little malt shop, but I'm telling you what, it's money.
Old time diner. They do a good job, and usually they got some pretty college girl ready to wait on you and help you out, and always with a great attitude. So, Gem 100. Now, they don't sponsor us or anything. They just take a lot of our money,
Well, I think as we wrap up today, we've touched on a lot of subjects today. We kind of want to do that on purpose. We're on live stream, so we're not in our the same studio with me and Rob. And Rob, you get here next Saturday, you're going to see a whole different studio. It's going to get redone up here. So
Well, next Saturday is July 4th, isn't it? Or July 3rd or 4th?
no, I think is it Friday? July 4th or Thursday? Something like that.
Correct time.
30. So
Well,
it's Tuesday,
yeah.
3rd, 4th. I think it must be Friday.
Well,
July 4th.
happy birthday. So I never knew that you were I'd call you a fiscal year baby.
Me?
Yeah, 6:30. You were born on the 30th or the
I
29th.
was actually born at 5:35 in the morning, Fortuna, California, at Redwood Catholic Hospital. I was the
Okay.
10th baby born in a brand new hospital. We looked it all up, met all the nuns down there 10, 12 years ago, and they all came out and took a picture with us and said hi to me. And I didn't even know it at the time. I was they had a newspaper clipping of when I was born.
The old joke is that when Dave was born, the doctor took one look at him and slapped his mama.
You slapped my mom. I'll tell you what. She played hockey in high school. She was a
Knuckle
Rosie
back.
River in World War II. She'd have just smoked you bad.
Yeah.
So,
But, hey, before you go, I just want to let people know they can follow us on, Dave on Instagram. We're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or Apple CarPlay. Just look for Stand Tall with Dave Brown and subscribe. Join us at podcast.standtallwithdavebrown.com. Join our movement, join our group of people. We send out, episode reminders, episode wrap-ups. So I'll leave it at that, Dave.
well, Rob, it's always great. Love you, man. And thanks for pushing to get this live stream out today. And so for Dave and Rob and Paige and Judy.
And Janie too.
Janie too.
Janie and
Steve,
Bob.
and everybody
Steve.
gone.
Beaver Steve's got some pretty interesting news, going on with him. So wish him best of luck in what he's got going on. So, yeah.
Beaver Steve, that's a good name. I like that.
Oh, I call him Beaver Steve or yeah, Beav Steve all the time. I love it because he's the biggest Beaver fan I've ever met.
You know what I love about Steve a lot, though, and I'm being sincere. He's crazy. He's smart. He's a very fiercely devoted family man. He's a
He's
man
a
of
good
God.
devoted Christian. Yeah, devoted Christian, number one.
He loves God. He loves his golf. He's got his golf cart, but he wears his heart on his sleeve. And you know where you stand with him. He's not going to pull any punches, and he probably needs a little more sandpaper on the sander there sometimes to get those corners rubbed off. But I love people where I know where I stand with them right off the bat,
Mhm.
and so that's why I love Beaver Steve.
But he's been as best of a friend as a guy could have. I've just really enjoyed working with him and getting to know him just on a personal level outside the show. So, and again, he's taught me a lot about my golf. So next time we go play golf, old Rusty Rob, he'll be, I think maybe a little bit honed in a little bit more.
We'll come out to the golf course, get a bucket of balls, and practice, dude.
I know I got to get my chipping. I got to get the chips. I got
It's
the,
free. Doesn't
I
cost
know,
anything there. It's
I
free.
know, but it's on the other side of town.
3 miles. Well, hey, we got to wrap it. We got a little business we got to talk about here in a second, Rob. So if you want to close it out, this is Dave Brown with Stand Tall and producer Rob. Appreciate you listening.